This exercise is mimicking what the front foot and gait does while running or walking. So with this exercise, what I've got is most of my weight is on my right foot, and my left foot is just there for balance. So it's just my toe is just barely touching the ground. Okay, and then the next piece of this is with my hands on my hips and my right knee is bent. What you're going to start to see is my body's going to shift in the frontal plane, moving my hips to the right while keeping that right knee bent. So what you're going to see a little bit better is that right hip starts to poke out to the right. And then the next piece of it is I'm going to add a transverse rotation, so my hips are going to turn. So my hips are actually rotating to the right. So we just did those two in different movements. So we did the frontal plane movement where my hip pushes to the right, and then we also did the transverse plane movement where I rotated my hips to the right. So this part of the video shows a really good way of visualizing combining the frontal and transverse plane movements at the same time. But you see they're still compartmentalized a little bit in this movement. Push the hip to the right, then rotate my body to the right. And one thing I want you to note is that as I turn my body to the right, my right knee also travels to the right just a little bit. And that's a normal thing. That's a normal variant that we want to be seeing. So this exercise is explaining what the rear foot does in gait. And what I've got here is my right foot is the back foot in gait. And the part that I really want people to focus on initially is to keep the big toe on the floor during this exercise. You want to keep that right big toe firmly planted on the floor. Don't let it rise. So in going through this, playing in a little bit slower movement, what's going to happen as we go through that, what the rear foot does in gait, is we need to have supination happen to make our foot rigid so that we can propel off of it. So what I'm doing is I'm turning my hips to the right to lock up my foot. So as I rotate my hip, it goes down through my right knee and down into my ankle and into my midfoot, which is making my arch rise up off the floor and creating supination and locking out my right foot, which is exactly what happens when you're running. Because of the way that we run, as that left foot hits the ground, or right before, my hips are rotating to the right before impact with that front foot. So that motion is actually happening while we run. And you can see the arch rises right at the end of that movement, which is exactly what we want to be seeing. And there it is, visualized one more time.